everybody kind of right, but what you do is, any place that they grow rice, they have fanner baskets where they're shaping the rice here. And what happens is the husk that's on the rice will glow, and the heavier rice will fall back down. I have a basket in here that's a fanner basket. My three middle ones here. Y'all like money? Look at it. If I could show you how to make some money, and the only thing that would cost you is time, you'd be interested. All it would cost you is your time. Because all the ingredients, the grass.
That's grass?
That's grass.
What's it called? Just grass?
This is grass.
That's a swirl. It has a swirl. I thought all the time it was green.
This is called
Come back.
This is called sweet grass. Now, I can show you where sweet grass grows. You cut it, you dry it. Now, the only other thing you're going to need is something to sow with. Now, in South Carolina, there's a palm tree that's called the cabbage palm. It's like our palm tree, but they take the new growth and they tear it, and they will sow with something that's about that short. I don't have the patience to sow that. This is too short for me, but I will use it. We use the limb of the saw palmetto. Now the reason why it is called saw, because right down here are thorns. And normally when I pick these up, I get cut. So what I'm going to do is show you how we sew. Anybody know what this is?
I do. It's a nail.
Anybody know what that is?
No. A pen. A pen. A pen. A pen. A pen. Clipper. Clipper. Clipper.
Yes.
Clipper. It's a pen.
Okay. No, that's the back of a spoon or fork.
Clipper. No, it's a pen. A pen. A two.
No, okay, that's close. But suppose I told you that all of these go back.
Boys, come back. Now y'all gotta follow the instructions.
All of these, no matter what they're made out of, they're called a bone.
A bone. A bone. A teeth.
So what is this?
A teeth. A teeth.
This is a bone. This is a nail bone.
A teeth. That's not teeth. Is that a dinosaur teeth?
This is a spoon bone.
Teeth. A dinosaur teeth.
This used to be on the top of a deer head.
What? And
This
then
is antler.
antler teeth.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize that.
Okay. Now, you get rid of that. Now, the first thing we have to do is cut a little piece off.
Oh my God.
Y'all stay back. Don't go near the knife.
You cut yourself.
No, I hope not.
You cut it like that. Chop.
No, I don't want to do it like that.
You cut it like you don't cut yourself.
I hope not.
You cut it at the top.
Do you know first aid?
I'm gonna get it.
Huh? Do you know first aid?
It's a stick.
Really knows it.
That's his big one.
Now, we got to cut the other side.
Jerry.
Which one, baby?
With that friend.
You don't want that?
Yeah, he going for the friend at the night.
Come here, baby.
Go back. Go
You
back.
want to sit by Ashton? Yeah, sit right there. Sit right there. Don't move now.
So I got one little more piece to do on the side.
That's a lot of pieces.
That's a lot of
Only
pieces.
get them.
Now, we gotta cut the backbone.
The backbone. Huh?
Now that the thorns are gone, I'll let you hold it. This part back here on the back is called the backbone. So pass it around so everybody can feel it.
Don't break
I
it.
sit back, come back. We're
Be
gonna pass
still,
it
be
around.
still.
Let me put it.
No, put that back, put that back.
Put that back. That's got the
Tyler, sit
thorns.
down.
Go back.
Sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down. I'm gonna pass it. Let go, let go, let go. If you're in your seat, you can touch it. It's cool.
Now, the palmetto, my palmetto, just go out there and cut it.
Don't bend it, let it go.
Okay. A basket like this.
If you turn around, you can touch it. Tyler, let go.
Yes.
Tyler, let go. Hey, 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 come here. Come sit down.
This basket here, this is the Fanta basket.
You take it back to your place.
This is the Winterling,
You can touch it.
Don't break it.
700.
Touch it. You can touch it.
Now, do you understand what I'm saying? Is the only thing that's gonna cost you is your time. It's gonna cost you the time to go out into the woods to get the material. It's gonna cost you the time to dry the material. And it's gonna cost you the time to work. The first time I went to Mount Pleasant in Charleston, and I asked a gentleman about a basket. He had a basket that's just a little bit bigger than that drink can right here on the table. I asked him how much was the basket. Huh?
I went to Charleston.
You didn't take me?
I did.
I didn't go with you. I went by myself.
I went with Lisa. This I went to Lowe's.
Okay.
I had surgery
He
on
told
my
me,
eye.
okay, is it better? That's good. He told me that that basket about the size of that drink can was $65. I started to tell him what to do with his basket and what to do with his $65. Then I started making baskets. And I was like, that's all he charged? Now, minimum wage is what, $7.25? We're just gonna say minimum wage is $7.25. I'm not gonna even say $7.25. I'm gonna say $5 a touch. The grass, I touched 6 times. That's $30. That's $30 just sitting. That's not even this. Yep, it fell. They didn't want to go back home. The palmetto,
Ashton, we don't do that.
this palmetto, I will touch at least 5 times. That's $25. I got $55 invested, and everything is just laying up on the table. Are you gonna pay me $55 for a thought?
Me? I will.
No, you won't. I won't let you.
I will.
No,
I will.
no,
I
no,
will.
no.
I will.
So what we're going to do now is take the backbone out. So this is why I say, if you get dedicated and you want to do this, it is a cultural thing. Basket making, wood carving,
Ashton and I.
net making, metalsmith are 4 of the oldest arts and crafts that the ancestors brought with them during the Middle Passage that we're still doing today. When you go to West Africa, you will see women making baskets. The difference is their baskets will be very colorful. Those are trade baskets. Will something bright red and gold catch your eye better than something this color? So why do you think the baskets are so brightly colored when you're walking through the villages? To catch your eye so you will buy them. Because when you go into the village where they're using the baskets, their baskets look like this. So we're gonna take the backbone out. See, you almost did it. That's why you kinda have to be careful.
That's the backbone?
That's the backbone. Now, if you try and use the backbone when you're making a basket, you will be using a whole bunch of Sunday school words.
That's a humongous backbone.
It is.
The back, it looks like a bell.
Look like a belt, okay?
Everybody here. Like me. It looks like
Now,
a bell.
normally what we'll do is take this centerpiece out, we'll make 2 needles and thread. This is what I'm getting ready to do now, is make a needle and thread. So I'll just do 1. Anybody ever had sugar cane?
Yeah. I haven't.
Are these young'uns gonna be here during the fall? Cause I'm gonna bring them some sugar cane.
Some of them will, some of them be gone out. But they grandparents. They might not make it to the kids. Was he need chicken?
Now, the Saturday after Thanksgiving at Ijikunda, we have the harvest. This is when we grind cane, make syrup. Now, once you start making your basket, you will make up your mind about what size you're gonna have. This is something you do yourself. And this is what I'm getting ready to do now. I'm getting ready to size. You know, when you go to the store to get a new pair of shoes, you have to step on that little machine that measures your feet so that they give you the right size shoe. Well, that's kind of what I'm doing right here now. I'm getting my shoe ready. Huh?
You making a shoe? How'd you make a shoe?
I keep forgetting my audience.
Yeah.
I am making my needle and thread.
That's your thread.
That's my thread. Very good. Now when I go all the way down, when I stop, back up here, this is going to be the needle. Oh,
Be respectful, give up.
were y'all told that there's going to be a test? Huh? There's going to be a test. Okay, what we're getting ready to do now is we're getting ready to shave.
Shave the stick.
Yeah, I'm gonna shave a stick.
Yeah, you gonna cut it in half.
I hope not.
I could shave it in half. How are you shaving it?
See what I'm doing there?
It looks like a. It looks like oh. Does it look like a meat? What do you mean? That's me. That's me. No,
I'll let you feel it.
I could take you.
And then you can pass it around. Feel up there where my hand is, and you can feel where I shaved.
Feel it? Let it feel like that.
Want my water.
That's not the way to answer anything. It's still way to answer anything, though.
You see the difference?
That's not sweet.
Now, every one of these pieces that's on the basket, I had to do this way. So what I will do is 1 or 2 days before I get ready to start sewing, that's all I will do is just sit down and shake. So that way, once I start sewing, I don't have to stop.
Stop it.
Go all the way, feel the difference, feel the tip of it.
Oh, that's it. That's enough. Y'all come to Miss Lee, one at a time.
Take your hand and then go forward. Feel the difference? Start right there. You gotta put all this trauma in it, but okay, come on. Feel the difference?
Now, while they're doing that, you see this basket here?
If you move it, step back.
Step back, you've done it.
Are you coming to feel the,
This basket here.
I got, that's what he said.
he's talking.
This basket is called a Zulu bear basket. When the Zulu women they bear, they will transport their beer in baskets. When I first made this, normally when I would be at festivals, I would take a bottle of water and pour it in the basket, and it just wouldn't drip out. Now if I pour water in, it'll run out, but that's because it's dry. This is a historical basket. This basket here is only one of 2 baskets to represent the state of Georgia in President Obama's last inaugural parade. The second float in the inaugural parade was the Gullah Geechee float. The reason for that is Michelle Obama is able to trace her heritage no, to Georgetown.
Her great grandmother is from there.
Yes, Will also? Okay. I knew about Georgetown. So being from Georgetown was sort of like the rice capital of America. And who did they get to become, to do the rice? The people who became Gullah Geechee. Now, so they knew that they probably would not, well, they knew he would not have another parade because this was his second. Here's the picture here of the float, and right there, right above that Fanta basket is it. Now,
good job, Tim. I'm proud of you. That's what we're doing. Thank you.
remember that?
Good.
Now, so what you end up doing is, like I say, it's just finish shaving.
Tell us.
I hope not. Because if you cut and it's too short, you just have to start all over again with another piece.
Yeah.
All over.
Cut.
Now, who's the smallest one in here?
No, we got 2, yeah. Your baby.
Now, how many of you seen the movie, the television show, Swamp People? What do they do on Swamp People? Huh?
Y'all ladies, let me die.
What do they do on Swamp
Take it
People?
to Mr. Gray. Take it to Mr. Gray. Take the baby to Mr. Gray.
Okay, they hunt alligators. Now, I want you to understand your history.
Come back.
He said, "No."
Going up there.
Come back.
Well, anyway,
He coming.
while the adults are out in the field working,
Now sit down, listen now.
while the adults are out in the field working, and the little itty bitties are back in the quarters, some of the buckaroos will come through the quarters and pick up somebody about this size. They would tie a rope around his waist and go into the bayou. And once they got into the bayou, they would throw him off. And then when he starts splashing, the big bull gators would come. Now on Swamp People, when that alligator grabs that hook, does he turn loose? So this would just be like a one mouthful. He would be swallowed whole, still with the rope around his waist. Then they would pull him, the gator, up to the boat, shoot him just like on Swamp People, and then they'll have gator tail that night. So this is why you have to be so strong and so nice to each other else, because everybody else in the world has been so mean to us. Working in the rice field. Is it kind of warm outside? Okay. Now imagine the same temperature and you're walking in knee-deep water. And you're walking in this water all day. So that water's going to do what to the sun? It's going to reflect it back up. You are bent over working in this environment. So respiratory ailment of the ancestors was very high. You were barefoot.
I am.
I know. And that's the way we ran around. We were barefoot. You walking through a rice field, you can't see the bottom. So that time, if you stuck something in your foot, you couldn't sit there and say, hey, I got something in my foot. You got something in your foot? Okay. He don't have nothing in his foot, so we okay. So you have to work. If you work in that water, you stand a chance of infection. Okay, you had rattlesnakes. You had copperheads. You had cottonmouths. You had alligators. You had all of those to worry about. You, the omen, you ran the rice field. Us men, we did what you said, and then we had to clear the field. Now, just think of the wooded area around here with all these trees. Think of that being in a swamp. Now, Master not going to let his horse, his oxen, his mule go in that swamp because the horse, the oxen, the mule, the cow may get hurt. But we had to go in there, cut every tree, dig up every stump, and put the banks around those patios. Now, what a lot of people do not understand or realize about a rice field, from where the dike is, you have about a 8-foot wide ditch that's 5 feet deep. This is what controls the water. We had to dig that. Can you dig that? Can you dig it? A little bit? So we had to dig that. So I have seen or I've heard where they said the life expectancy on a rice plantation was about 18 months. Now, what color is her pants right there? Huh? And what color do they use on denim? What color they got on yours? Indigo. Prior to the rice, they grew indigo. Indigo, a green plant that turned brown that made a blue dye. Now, you know what the life expectancy of a worker of indigo? 7 years. Because once that indigo got on your skin would not open back up. They said that during the processing of indigo, it was so foul that buzzards would not even fly across. But we had to work it. We brought this knowledge. Now, there are some stories about the rice that they'll sit there and tell you that they went to Holland and got some Buckra engineers. If they were going to do that, why didn't they just go there in the beginning instead of coming to Africa bothering us? That's one of these little side trips again. How many of you have heard the story 1492, I sailed the ocean blue? Who am I talking about? And we were taught that Columbus was scared that he was going to do what? Fall off the edge. That's one of the biggest lies that's ever been taught in school. Have you ever heard of Henry the Navigator? Henry the Navigator, Portuguese sailor. He was the one who explored the west coast of Africa. Guess who one of his sailors was? C.C. Christopher Columbus. Now, the main ship was called the Pinta. That's the flagship. If I can remember correct, I think they said they spotted land first thing in the morning. Did anyone ever tell you that Christopher Columbus? Next time y'all want that time, y'all just come get me, right? That Christopher Columbus's navigator was African? Did you know that? Columbus's navigator was African. Did anyone ever tell you that the maps that Columbus used, to have a map, that meant that somebody had already been there.
That's right.
The maps that he used were African. So, if they spotted the land first thing in the morning, who's going to be at the helm of the ship? Columbus or the person who could read the stars? The navigator. So that says that the first person who saw the new land was an African. Okay, but we don't get credit for that. Anybody been to Savannah? Look at the top of the city hall. City Hall in Savannah is colored what color?
Green.
That's close.
Gold.
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 What color? Gold. Okay. Now you know where that gold come from?
The City Hall.
That's where it went. It was dug in a mine in North Georgia and in Lonaga. And you know who the first person who found that gold was?
Me.
I wish it was.
I found the gold first.
Okay.
My
It was an African male.
Wait a minute. Calm down. Calm. Stay calm and listen.
Was an African male. When he found the gold, he couldn't use it.
It was a female. I was green. And then two.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then two.
You found the gold in Villa Rica. See, because Villa Rica is saying they had the first one. So Villa Rica was found by the female? Okay.
And then two I got.
You found in Villa Rica. But that is an argument that's going on right now, that the first gold rush in Georgia was arguing between the two of them. But anyway, the first gold rush in the United States was in Georgia. He couldn't keep it. So these are other things that happen to us. A lot of things that happen that that has been taken from us. This is why it's so important that when you go to school, you got to go too, okay? So when you go to school, you can get the gold and keep the gold. Now, we hear about 1619. Now, this may upset or surprise some of you. How many of you ever heard of the song Steal Away, the who? Okay, what is that song about? About what?
Navigating a route.
Huh?
Navigating a route.
Steal away to Jesus in 1619, the Spanish ship that sold 21 Africans to the British, the name of that ship was the Jesus. A-E-S-U-S. There's no H. There's no J in Spanish, so it comes with an H, Jesus. So when the ancestors were talking about stealing away, they wanted to steal away on what brought them here. The Jesus, which became Jesus during our time. Now there's another book. I want people to use common sense about. There's a book that's called Hidden in Plain Sight. You familiar with that? Anybody? Hidden in Plain Sight is talking about the making of quilts. Now, that's as far as I'm going. Right now, if we running away and we left someplace down there in Ludwig, and we trying to get wherever, are we going to travel in the daytime or in the nighttime?
In the daytime, in the nighttime.
Okay. My older head, daytime or nighttime?
In the daytime.
No, you're not older head, you're younger head.
In nighttime.
Wait. Huh? Okay.
Nighttime.
Okay, then you're going to get caught.
You want them to say something.
Now here's the question. If we are leaving at night, because that's where I'm going,
Me too.
how in the world am I going to read a quilt that's on a fence?
Daytime, nighttime.
We don't have no flashlights.
I do. I do.
So,
I
and
do.
what's his name? Henry Louis Gates? Now, a lot of things I don't agree with him with, but one of the things I do is that there's not been anything proven in any narratives or anything where they use any clues. Now, you know what the latest one is? Your head. That maps were braided in your hair. Yeah, that could be used as a map. Now, I haven't yea or nay that one either way, but that's the latest one going out. But that is our ingenuity. But one of the things that we feel or we hear that in 1619, that's when the first Africans were brought here. But in 1526, there was a Spanish conquistador by the name of Lucas Elion. And he sailed in 1521, he sailed all the way to Maryland looking for Africans. So he already knew Africans were here. The because they already knew that they didn't want to get any more Indians. But in 1526, he sailed right along the coast. He stopped at Sapelo.
Thank you. Thank you.
How many of you know where Salt Island is? I bet everybody in here has been to Salt Island. How many of you have ever been to Tybee? The Yuchi Indians, their word for salt is Tybee. Now, the last bridge that you go across to go into Tybee, you cross what is called Lazaretta Creek. And I know no one has ever told you this. When you cross that bridge, say a little prayer because you're on sacred ground. Lazaretta was our Ellis Island. Before the ship was allowed to go into the port of Savannah, any of the weak or sick Africans that was on those ships were taken off at Lazaretta. Those who were able to be healed were healed and put on a ship and taken into the city. Those that did not, they were, nobody knows where they were buried. So it's a very good possibility. They do know that the Lazaretta and Lazaretta is an Italian word for pest house. And this is where our quarantine station, they do know this was on the northwest corner, and that's the northwest corner of Tybee. So these are little things that we don't know anything about that we need to get out. And he went all the way up to, Elion went all the way up to Georgetown, the Petey River area. The first African revolt was done up in PD because the native people, the ancestors got with the native people and they attacked the Spanish. And the Spanish had to walk back down the King's Highway. Anybody been on the King's Highway? Anybody ever driven from Midway to Richmond Hill or gone into Savannah that way? If you've gone down 17 is the King's Highway. They walked from Georgetown, South Carolina to Harris Neck, which is the first road on 17 after you cross the McDonald's there in South Newport. And this is where they walked to. There's gonna be a basket maker here.
You measured it right now. About $500 when he finished. Hey, $500 when he finished with that right.
So, anybody have any questions for me?
Tyler? That's true.
Wait a minute. Any questions? Okay, go ahead, dear. What's your question?
I was seeing.
Everybody sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Now, what do you say?
I haven't ever seen wheat. It's
Okay.
some kind of that.
Now, wheat does look something like that. It looks like the rice that I have, but this is something, you wanna go? But that's not wheat. Now, wheat looks like that, but that's not wheat.
Okay, go to the.
Now, one of the things, when I get people of the other persuasion that wants to learn how to make a basket, when we start, this is what I start with. Many of them get angry because it's already started. And that's what they want me to teach them. You're gonna have to have a little bit more melody. We don't give away our culture. I did a basket workshop on St. Simon at Harrington School. Anybody familiar with Harrington School? Harrington School is the old black school, one-room school on St. Simon. And like I said, I had all the starts, and this one lady came in about a half an hour late, and she told me exactly, I am late, I didn't see you start, and I need to see how you start so I can do it myself. That's the reason why you don't see how to do it. I'll teach you how to do it. Teach you how to do it. But I won't teach them how to do it. Because I'm passing our generation, our knowledge, our arts and craft on. Now, it's just like I said, I'm a genealogist also, and I had someone that asked me once, why do you do genealogy? And then when they asked me, I really didn't have an answer. But I do genealogy because we always know for us to live as we do today, we're standing on somebody's shoulders. So by doing the genealogy, I put a name to those shoulders that I'm standing on. And there were some mighty and great people, and don't ever be ashamed of them. They didn't ask to be enslaved. And that's a word, there are two words I've stopped using. That's the S word. There were no bold, capital, italicized, underlined, any other kind of way. No slaves taken from Africa. They were put into the institution of enslavement. Men, women, girls, boys, farmers, fishermen, warriors, princesses were stolen, kidnapped, abducted, and any other foul word that you want to use when you take somebody from their home and put them someplace they didn't want to be. How old are you? How old are you? Between the ages of 12 and 20, it would be expected for you two to have 6 children. Right now, you would be put in a hut at night, naked, with the young males that's on the plantation. And that's the other word I don't use. Plantation is a glorified word. In Russia, when you did something wrong, you were sent to Siberia. Siberia were work camps. So plantation is a glorified word to make some buckler feel good about the work camps our ancestors were put in. So when people sit here and try and tell you that it wasn't hard, I want you to look at this. You see the chair railings are going around? That's one level. You see the height of the chair that you're sitting on? That's another level. And my level is, we got one level of people laying down in the hold of the ship. The second level is the height of the chair. And it is said that when a ship came in port, it could be smelt 10 miles away. You had 16 to 18 inches of feces in the bottom of the ship. Have you ever been on a ship? You've been on a ship? Did you? What happens when most people, a lot of people, when they go on a ship? They get seasick. Now imagine you laying down on that table, on your back, you can't move, and you get seasick. So when you get seasick, are you gonna throw up on you, or are you gonna turn your head? You just turn your head so you can get it most. So there are cracks in between the boards. So when you throw up, whoever's down below you is gonna get it. Now, there ain't no bathrooms. You go right there. A lot of people had diarrhea. Some of them had dysentery. That's the worst case of diarrhea. And it all went down. So don't do that, please. I can't walk now because my knee is probably doing something. I know what happened. I don't know why I was that size. I can remember. For whatever reason, I decided I could jump rope with a dish towel. And I got the towel around, and it didn't catch nothing but my feet. So when it got down and I tried to come around and my feet got caught, I pulled my feet from under me. And the only thing that landed was my face.
What? You hurt your face?
Yeah, I hurt my face. I used to be cute.
Did you miss it?
When you were a little kid?
Yeah, when I was a little kid.
Now you're a big kid?
Yeah, I'm a big, thank you, baby. I'm a big kid now.
You're a big kid! Big kid!
Okay.
He's a big.
But this is some of the things. So whenever people sit there and tell you that enslavement wasn't bad,
The feet got caught.
okay. Now there's another thing. There's something that's called, have you ever heard of the Willie Lynch letter?
Sean.
Okay, people sit there and say that the Willie Lynch letter, they have proven that there was no person named Willie Lynch and there was no letter. Okay, but I sit here and say if it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, then it's a duck.
Quack, quack.
Quack, quack. So in other words, if we are following the conditions in that letter, then it's true. And one of the things that they did was divide us. Women against men, men against women, children against the adults, field against the house. Now there's a big misconception that if you were in the house, you had it good. Since you're here, I'm gonna bother you. You work in the house, you work in the kitchen. Now, you may dress a little bit better than everybody in the field, and your food may be a little bit better than what they got. But every male guest that came to that house, now, the two of you, your friends. Gold. Is gold easy to find or do you have to work at it? Diamonds. Easy to get or work at. Rubies. Easy to get or you gotta work at it. Your body's more precious than all of those metals, those gems. And if you gotta work at to get them, what do you have to do for you? You gotta be working. Okay? Don't fall for that okey doke. If you love me, you will. You can sit there and say, my daddy loved me, my uncle loved me, and he would never ask me that. Okay? freshmen? Both of you. And you have to be earned. I'll get off the soapbox. Any other questions? I get long-winded. Now, you think y'all will never learn how to make that? Just think about it. Don't give me an answer, not just I'll think about it. Now, there's something else I'll say. There's never nothing wrong with saying I don't know. Because when you say I don't know, you're telling the truth. And you can always go look. Have you ever been in class and you answered something wrong and everybody in class laughed at you? Or have you ever been in a class and somebody laughed and somebody said something? Huh? What's a dumb question? Is there a dumb, can you ask a dumb question? No. You cannot ask a dumb question. Now, what's your name? Who? Jaden. Jaden. We just said that there's no such thing as a dumb question, right? Jaden, do you want to hear a dumb question? Jaden, what color is your black top?
She like her.
Isn't that dumb? If I already know it's black, right, once again, there's no such thing. Because when you ask a question, you're asking to learn something. So always look at that. No matter what nobody else do or nobody else says, you are getting it for you. Now, from this moment on, I'm going to do one thing.